Single mom discovers starving elder on street. Hours later, a life-changing truth is revealed. Sarah's heart raced as she navigated the crowded streets of Chicago, the twinkling holiday lights casting garish shadows everywhere. She juggled 2 jobs while raising her spirited daughter Emma, but tonight, something felt off. The chill in the air wrapped around her, tightening her chest. That's when she saw him, a frail old man curled up on the sidewalk, wrapped in layers of tattered clothing, his cardboard sign barely legible. It was a stark contrast to the festive cheer bustling around him. Little snippets of the world she fought through every day echoed in her mind as the coldness seemed to pierce deeper than the winter air. Her instinct was to walk by, to push through the bustle of shoppers wearing their cheerful hats and scarves. But the despair in Mr. Thompson's eyes, those eyes, filled with stories, pain, and a flicker of humanity, held her captive. With shaking hands, she reached into her bag and offered him a portion of the small dinner she had saved. He looked at her with disbelief, his weary expression softening momentarily. "Thank you," he croaked, voice shaking like the leaves in the winter wind. In that instant, something unexpected sparked in Sarah's heart, warming the cold space that daily struggles had claimed. Emma soon joined them, her initial curiosity piqued by the awkward exchange. "Who's this?" she asked, glancing sideways at the man whose gruff exterior couldn't hide the kindness inside. As they huddled close, sharing laughter and stories, Sarah's heart swelled. The forgotten world of connection and warmth bloomed around them. They weren't just sharing food, they were weaving hearts together, stitching resilience into the tattered fabric of their lives. Sarah's prejudices, passed down like heirlooms, started to unravel, and she began to appreciate the depth hidden behind Mr. Thompson's gruffness. Yet, as days turned into weeks, a misunderstanding emerged between them. One evening, Emma excitedly recounted a story of a former friend who had ended up homeless, stirring old fears within Sarah. "He's just an old vet with no place to go, right?" she said, her voice a mixture of concern and disbelief. The seemingly simple statement sent ripples of discomfort through Sarah. Could she truly trust the instincts she'd honed through years of single parenthood? The struggle of whether to swing open her heart or erect walls in the face of the unknown complicated her perspective. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Then, one cold December evening, Sarah stumbled upon the truth that would shake her world. Mr. Thompson was not just any homeless man, he was a decorated war veteran, carrying the weight of memories that no one else could see. His tales of heroism emerged like butterflies from Chrysalis's beautiful yet haunting. The community around them began to change, questioning biases and perceptions like never before. Could they unite to support Mr. Thompson? Or would old prejudices tear them apart? Standing at the precipice of change, Sarah felt hope bloom in tandem with fear. How could she reconcile her family's struggles with the stark realities around them? More than that, could Mr. Thompson find redemption in a world set against him? The questions lingered, echoing in the cold air as she turned to Emma, both of their lives forever altered by this chance encounter. Uncertainty loomed, but amidst the flickering lights, they knew the next chapter of their story was just beginning. Sarah sat in her small, cluttered living room, the bright lights of the holiday tree flickering softly in the corner. She stared blankly at the wall, Emma's laughter in the background blending with the hum of a holiday tune drifting from the radio. Thoughts of Mr. Thompson swirled in her mind like snowflakes caught in a winter breeze. They had shared not just meals, but pieces of their souls. Yet, doubt lingered, like a shadow that wouldn't leave. Emma bounded into the room, her hands sticky with candy canes. "Mom! Can we invite Mr. Thompson over for Christmas dinner?" The sparkle in Emma's eyes lit the dullness of Sarah's thoughts. It was a sweet idea, filled with the innocent hope only a child could encapsulate. But it struck a nerve in Sarah's heart, igniting both warmth and apprehension. What if Mr. Thompson rejected their kindness? What if he reminded Emma of the harsh realities of life she was too young to understand, but how could she deny Emma the chance to spread joy? "That's a wonderful idea, sweetheart," she finally said, forcing a smile. "Let's make him a card." As they crafted colorful paper decorations, Sarah's thoughts turned back to the stories Mr. Thompson shared. Each tale peeled back layers of his life, revealing a tapestry woven with courage and loss. She thought of the guilt that weighed on her each time she watched Emma thrive while others struggled. Could they be the ones to help? The weight of that question settled in her chest like a heavy stone. Days slipped by, and the moment arrived. With hearts racing, Sarah and Emma walked to the spot where they had first met Mr. Thompson. The streets were bustling, crowds buzzing with holiday excitement. Emma held the card tightly, while Sarah silently prayed for the words to come out right. When they spotted him, bundled up and staring blankly at the ground, something inside Sarah twisted. "Mr. Thompson." Emma called out, her voice bright against the wintry chill. Mr. Thompson looked up, his expression torn between surprise and deep resignation. "Emma, Sarah," he said, his voice gravelly but warm. With a deep breath, Sarah stepped forward. "We wanted to invite you to our home for Christmas dinner. We'd love for you to join us." For a moment, time stood still. Mr. Thompson's eyes flickered with a mix of emotions: uncertainty, disbelief, and something else that Sarah couldn't quite identify. A slight smile creased his weathered face. "That's mighty generous of you." I'll think about it." Emma beamed, undeterred. "We made you a card." She thrust it into his hands, her little fingers brushing against his worn skin. As he opened the crumpled paper, Sarah felt a rush of hope. But as Mr. Thompson examined the card, something in his expression shifted, darkening the light Sarah had tried to share. "You don't know what you're doing, kid," he murmured, his voice laced with an undercurrent of pain. Sarah's stomach nodded. "No, we just want to help. You've shared so much with us. But there are things you can't unsee, things you can't do anything about." His words cut deep, and a chilling wave of uncertainty washed over Sarah. Did this mean he wouldn't come? Suddenly, the cheerful tunes of the holidays felt jarring and distant, like an elusive dream slipping through her fingers. The flicker of impending loss ignited a new resolve within her. "You deserve to be part of our family, Mr. Thompson. Will you let us show you the kindness you've always shown us?" He looked at her, and for a moment, it felt like destiny hung in the balance. Would he break the chains of his past? As silence enveloped them, Sarah clenched Emma's hand, both their hearts beating in sync. "Please," she whispered, not just to him, but to the universe. As Mr. Thompson hesitated, Sarah felt her heartbeat quicken. Could they really bridge the gaps between their worlds, or was this destined to be the end? The moment lingered, heavy with possibility and uncertainty as the winter air wrapped around them, and she waited for a miracle to unfold. The silence stretched, each second pulling at Sarah's heart like a thin thread ready to snap. Mr. Thompson's gaze darted between the ground and Emma's hopeful face. She could see the wheels turning in his mind, torn between accepting the warmth they offered and the harsh walls he had built around himself. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke again. "You don't have to feel alone, Mr. Thompson. Please, we genuinely want you there." Emma took a step closer, her small hand reaching out. "We'll have cookies. And you can help me decorate the tree." The sincerity in her invitation dissolved the gloom in the air, if only for a flicker. For a moment, darkness clouded Mr. Thompson's features. "You don't understand what I've seen," he started, his voice shaking ever so slightly. "How I've failed." "You're not a failure," Sarah interjected, feeling a rush of warmth for him. "You're brave for making it this far. Everyone needs a chance to start anew. Including you." Mr. Thompson's expression softened for an instant, revealing a flicker of the man he once must have been, a man capable of joy, laughter, and community. But the flicker faded, obscured once more by the burden he carried. "Life is messy, kid," he muttered, stepping back slightly, retreating behind the walls he had built. You'll regret it. Emma's disappointment was palpable. The little girl's shoulders drooped, and seeing her like that tore at Sarah's heart. She knelt beside her, placing a comforting hand on Emma's back. We would never regret it, would we, sweetheart? Emma lifted her head, determination settling in her tiny features. No. Emma exclaimed, her voice ringing out like a bell. Everyone deserves love and food for Christmas. You can't stop us from caring. Mr. Thompson looked at the child, his expression caught between surprise and a depth of regret that seemed to push him further into the shadows. Kid, I'm not the man you think I am, then show us who you are. Emma cried, her eyes wide. Let us in. We want to help with everything. You could even tell us stories, and we'll listen. The weight of Emma's words hung delicately in the air. Sarah could see the clenching of fists, a body tense with years of hardship and pain, but Emma's innocence seemed to slice through it all. Why would you want someone like me around? Mr. Thompson asked, vulnerability bleeding through his words. Because you matter. You know that. Emma's voice was soft yet solid, carrying with it echoes of the hope Sarah had buried deep within herself. Sarah felt tears prick her own eyes, their words danced on the edge of something profound. Maybe this was a chance for salvation, for both of them. Will you let us in? Sarah echoed, desperation coloring her tone. You don't have to keep suffering alone. You've shared so much with us, just let us show you what it means to belong. His shoulders sank under the weight of options. His resolve began to waver, and for a heartbeat, it looked as if he might take a step closer, but old wounds dimmed his flame. Christmas is not for someone like me, he stated, a flicker of sadness edged with resentment creeping into his voice. Why not? Emma asked, genuine confusion crossing her face. Because I've lived it without joy for so long, I don't know if I deserve it. A sharp pang cut through Sarah, her heart aching for both of them. How long had he deemed himself unworthy? She took a step closer, embracing the uncertainty. You don't have to feel that way anymore, Sarah said softly, not with us. You're invited, Mr. Thompson, plain and simple. Will you come? This time, Mr. Thompson's silence felt different. As he looked at Emma once more, the slightest tremor of hope stirred in the depths of his darkened eyes. The battle raged within him, should he take this leap into grace or retreat to his solitude? As Sarah waited, poised for what felt like a lifetime, her heart fluttered with a blend of anticipation and fear. What if he chose to stay in the shadows? Finally, he opened his mouth to respond, but before any words could escape, a loud car horn blared nearby, jolting them all. For a fleeting moment, Sarah's breath caught as she saw the shadows of his past swirl behind his eyes. Locking away whatever decision loomed before them was the warmth of the holidays, enough to thaw a heart so deeply frozen. The air thickened with tension, and she felt her pulse quicken, not knowing whether it was going to end in joy or heartache. As they waited for Mr. Thompson's answer, would he choose light or darkness? The moment lingered, heavy and taut, like the silence before a storm. Mr. Thompson stood before them, his shoulders coiled tightly as if about to spring away. Sarah could feel the warmth between them fading, replaced by the chill of uncertainty. Hey, Emma said, her voice breaking through the thick air. Can we show you our Christmas tree decorations? I have all sorts of sparkly things. Mr. Thompson's mouth twitched, maybe even hinting at a smile, before he caught himself. He glanced down at Emma's eager face illuminated by the setting sun, and Sarah felt a small flicker of hope ignite within her. It's just I want to fit in, he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. You don't know what it's like to be broken. Sarah's heart sank, the weight of his words shrouding her in a shadow of despair. You might feel that way now, but we all have cracks, she said softly, urgency threading through her words. That's how light gets in. Please, don't let your past dictate what your future can hold. Emma stepped forward again, her little frame brimming with determination. We could be best friends. You could tell me all your favorite stories, and I'll make the best cookies ever. For the briefest moment, Mr. Thompson's face softened as he absorbed Emma's enthusiasm. But the darkness lurked close behind, ready to swallow that light whole. Kid, I'm not capable of stories filled with joy. The tales I carry are darker. The vulnerability in his words broke Sarah's heart all over again. Everyone has darkness, she said. But holding it in can be unbearable. Why not share it? Let us help lighten your burden. He looked torn, the rough exterior he had worn for so long cracking, momentarily revealing a flicker of the man he once was. For once, the flicker flickered. But just as it did, he hardened again, retreating back into himself as his defenses surged forth. You're just a kid, and I'm old news, he said, his voice cracking. You should forget me, go play with your family instead. Mr. Thompson. Emma cried, her voice chasing the shadows. I won't just forget you. You can be part of our family for Christmas. The world around Sarah seemed to pause, the holiday lights shining brightly against the gathering twilight, illuminating the corners of despair that clung to Mr. Thompson. Her hope hinged on the strength of their connection, a connection that now felt precariously balanced on a thread. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, he took a deep breath, and for the first time, Sarah saw him truly considering their offer. Why, with all the people around, would you want me? Because you've been alone for too long, Sarah replied, fighting to keep her hope alive. You deserve companionship, kindness, and everything we can give. Christmas is built on love and second chances. When you open up your heart, that's when true magic can happen. Emma squeezed Mr. Thompson's hand, a gesture so simple yet profound. And I would love to have you there. Please, please come. The tension wove in and out of the air, like a melody playing softly, teasing the edges of possibility as Mr. Thompson blinked slowly, weighing their words deep in his heart. Just when it seemed he might finally let go of some of his pain, an unmistakable shadow crossed his face. I can't promise I'll fit in anything, he muttered. What if you don't have to? Sarah whispered, a smile spreading across her face. We're not asking you to change. Just be yourself. We'll love you anyway. The softness of those words rippled through the space, and Sarah held her breath, her every hope wrapped in the fragile moment. They would either break apart or finally begin to heal together. Would he step into their world or remain shackled by his past? As Mr. Thompson's eyes glanced over to Emma, hope soared in Sarah's chest. What would he decide? The answer lay on the other side of a single moment. Suddenly, a door creaked open in the distance, and the sound reverberated through the quiet. It was an invitation, a reminder from the world that life continued to unfold, but would Mr. Thompson take the first step, or would the shadows remain too heavy? The moment stretched on, taut with possibility, as Mr. Thompson's gaze traveled between the hopeful faces of Sarah and Emma. Time seemed to halt, and the faint glow of the Christmas lights flickered against the darkening sky, echoing the spark of longing in Sarah's chest. She could practically hear her heart pounding in anticipation. Why would you want someone like me in your lives? He asked again, the vulnerability creeping back into his voice like a stray cat seeking shelter. Sarah took a deep breath, the air thick with hope and fear. Because every little light deserves a place to shine, especially during Christmas. You don't have to face things alone. We can share the warmth. Emma nodded vigorously, her innocent smile lighting up her face even more. We can build the best snow fort. You can teach me how to make that secret hot chocolate you promised last time. Mr. Thompson chuckled softly, memories pulling at the corners of his mouth. But then the smile faltered, as if it couldn't quite reach his eyes. Hot chocolate? He whispered, almost like he was tasting the word again after years. Yes. Emma exclaimed, her energy infectious. The kind that you said makes you feel all warm and cozy inside. Not just from the heat but from the love you put into it. The weight on his shoulders shifted just a fraction, but enough that Sarah sensed something was crackling beneath the surface. Maybe, just maybe, he was warming up to them. Emma, he said suddenly, peering deep into her eyes, you don't know what you're asking. I'm not the person you think I am. I don't care, Emma replied, with a sincerity that could soften even ice. I only know you're here. With us. Choose to stay. A quick movement caught Sarah's eye. The door that had creaked open was a little wider now, bathed in the orange glow of inside lights. She could see a few onlookers peeking out, an array of curious faces watching this moment unfold like a scene from a long-forgotten holiday movie. Please, Sarah implored gently, just give it a try. Even if just for tonight. You've spent so many hours alone, just imagine how it could feel to be part of a family even if it's only for a little while. Mr. Thompson's expression wavered. The words he had built his barriers around were tumbling down slowly, like snowflakes kissing the ground. Nick, he muttered, perhaps just to himself, and Sarah caught the hint of a name, a tether to a past he might not be ready to confront. Tension surged as the siren of hopes began to swell inside her. You don't have to pretend to be someone else. Just be Nick with us. For a moment, silence embraced them, the anxious breaths of everyone present mingling in the winter chill. Finally, Mr. Thompson closed his eyes tightly, as if summoning strength from deep within. I know it'll hurt. My past it won't just disappear. We're not asking it to, Emma said, her gaze unwavering. You can carry your stories with you. Just let us share in them. A river of emotions flowed through the air, and despite the heaviness that still clung to him, something bright quivered within Mr. Thompson's chest. He finally opened his eyes, and for the first time, they glimmered, not entirely with despair. What if he hesitated, searching their faces? What if I can't be who you want me to be? Sarah smiled, warmth blooming in her heart. Then you'll be exactly who we need you to be. Just you. With a sharp intake of air, Mr. Thompson took a hesitant step forward, like a seed pushing through the winter's frost. The moment was teetering towards something magical. But then, just as he seemed poised to step fully into their world, footsteps echoed from the distance, breaking the spell. A familiar figure emerged, casting a shadow of apprehension. It was someone from his past, someone he never wanted to see again. Nick. The figure called, taking determined strides across the lawn, and Sarah's heart spat out a sharp worry. Would he be pulled back into the shadows he thought he could leave behind? Would this stark reality steal the warmth they had just begun to build? Mr. Thompson's face turned ashen as the name echoed in the night air. Sarah felt the tension thicken, wrapping around them like a winter fog. It was like a spell had been broken, and the magic that had begun to spark between them started to fade as quickly as it had appeared. The figure trudging toward them was someone Sarah recognized from whispers in the neighborhood, not a friendly face, but one that carried the weight of judgment. You think you can just run away, Nick? The man shouted, his voice dripping with disdain. Please, Mr. Thompson's voice broke, barely a whisper, yet filled with a mix of desperation and fear. He hesitated, almost as if he were weighing the option of retreating into the shadows, his old world beckoning him back. Emma clutched Sarah's hand tightly, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. She looked up, eyes wide and filled with concern. Who is he? Someone from my past, Mr. Thompson replied, his stance wavering. The light within him dimmed, and Sarah could almost hear the walls he had built around his heart rising once more. Nick, you can't hide forever. The man continued, getting closer, the bitterness radiating off him like a winter chill. You think you deserve this? You think they care about you? You won't ever change. Something snapped inside Sarah. The affection she felt for Mr. Thompson coursed through her, filling her with fierce determination. She stepped forward, a protective instinct rising within her. That's enough. He's not the person you think he is, he's trying. Mr. Thompson's eyes darted between Sarah and the man, confusion and fear battling behind their dark depths. It was clear he was teetering on the edge, caught in a tempest of emotions. Do you really think they'll accept you? The man sneered, his confidence unnerving. You think they'll want anything to do with your baggage? Stop it. Emma shouted, her small voice cutting through the darkness. Nick, you're with us. You're good. You can take your baggage wherever you want, as long as you choose to stay. The words spilled from her lips, filled with innocent honesty that sought to bridge the widening gulf between them. For a fleeting moment, Mr. Thompson's expression shifted. Hope flickered, but the man laughed, a cruel sound that echoed like broken glass. Hope. You think hope is enough to fix someone like him? Look at you. Look at your life, Nick. As the man stepped closer, encroaching on Mr. Thompson's space, Sarah sensed his heartbeat quickening. Don't let him drag you back, she urged, her heart pounding as she reached for Mr. Thompson's arm, anchoring him to the moment. For the briefest second, their eyes locked, and she saw a glimmer of the warmth they had just begun to create. But responsibility clawed at him, the weight of the past pressing down like an unyielding snowstorm. Nick, she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. You don't have to face him alone. You have us. Just as Mr. Thompson took a shaky breath, ready to speak, the man lunged forward, a flash of aggression that shattered the stillness. Enough of this nonsense. He yelled. You don't belong here. In that very moment, Sarah felt a deep, undeniable instinct surge within her, a need to fight for this man who had begun to show the shine of his true self. But would Mr. Thompson fight for himself? Time slowed, the air crackling with tension, both looming turmoil and the chance for redemption. A flicker of hope gingerly danced on the edge of despair, just waiting for a chance to rise. Nick. Choose us. Sarah shouted, pushing through the thrumming heartbeat of fear. Would he listen? Or would the shadows of his past swallow him whole once more? Mr. Thompson flinched as the man closed in, the smell of whiskey and bitterness hanging in the air between them. The taunts and jabs seemed to ricochet off the walls of Sarah's heart. She tightened her grip on Mr. Thompson's arm, her pulse racing. She was scared, yet filled with a fierce resolve. The world outside of this moment faded, and it felt like it was just the three of them. Stop this. Sarah shouted again, her voice a beacon in the darkness. You don't get to decide who he is. No one does. Nick is trying to fight back. Fight? You call this a fight? The man spat. He took another step, his face twisted in a mocking sneer. You think playing house with these kids is going to change what he is? It's pathetic. Mr. Thompson recoiled slightly at the venomous tone, his eyes filled with a whirlwind of emotions. Sarah could sense the turmoil within him, a rush of regret and fear threatening to overwhelm the glimmer of hope ignited in her earlier plea. Nick, please just talk to us, she murmured, her voice softening. The tension between the three of them felt suffocating. Talk. The man laughed derisively. What is there to talk about? He ran away from his own life. He's too weak to face any of it. Maybe he did run from something, Emma chimed in, her small voice steady, her eyes fierce. But he's here now. You can't take that from us. Sarah glanced at Emma, surprised at the strength emanating from the girl. Emma's unwavering support emboldened Sarah further. She focused again on Mr. Thompson, praying he could hear the swirling encouragement around him, that he understood this was a moment of choice, a chance to redefine who he was. Nick, your past doesn't define you. You're more than what they think, more than what you think. Sarah's heart raced, her emotions breaking free like a flood. Please, don't let him pull you back into old shadows. You can choose light. An inner battle played out across Mr. Thompson's face, a storm between dread and determination. Why are you doing this? He finally whispered, voice shaky, eyes locking with Sarah's. You don't know what I've done, what I've lost. Maybe I don't know all of it, but I see you fighting, Nick. You're here with us now, Sarah pleaded, choking back tears. You don't have to hide anymore. The man scoffed, eyes darting between them as the chance for his power slipped away. Such idealistic nonsense. Your charity can't change who he is. Ignoring him, Sarah stepped closer. The warmth radiating from her felt like a lifeline thrown in turbulent waters. What do you want to choose today? Are you going to let fear win or take a step into something real? As tension pulsed in the air, Mr. Thompson's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. They rolled down his cheeks, his breath hitched. The realization that he was surrounded by love, however tentative, seeped into his soul. Choose us, Emma said again, undeterred, her voice small but resolute. The man lunged again, his anger palpable, but Sarah didn't flinch. Instead, she raised her chin defiantly, ready to shield Mr. Thompson if need be. She had come to care for him, and the thought of letting go felt unbearable. And just then, a thrumming sound filled the air, pulling their attention momentarily. The loud clamor of sirens echoed down the street, growing louder, as if the world itself was forcing its way into the chaos. Nick! Keep fighting! Sarah shouted over the rising sound, her heart drumming in her chest. Would the sirens be a signal of salvation, or would they be a herald of even deeper darkness? Would Mr. Thompson harness his courage and face his demons, or would he allow them to drown him once more? Time hung heavily as all eyes turned expectantly to Mr. Thompson, waiting for his decision, holding their collective breath. The sound of sirens sliced through the tension like a knife, amplifying the urgency of the moment. Mr. Thompson's eyes were wide, caught between fear and a flicker of hope. The man's bravado wavered just for a moment, his smirk faltering in the escalating chaos. Sarah stepped even closer, her heart racing. Nick, please. You have to make a choice, she urged, her voice practically trembling with the weight of what was at stake. We're here for you. You don't have to deal with this alone. Emma squeezed Mr. Thompson's hand tighter, as if the sheer force of her grip could convey all the unspoken words swirling between them. The man sneered, but his eyes were darting towards the road outside, where the sound of the emergency vehicles grew closer. Look at you. He crooned, trying to regain control. You think they're coming to save you? They'll only see a coward. A failure. The word struck like a whip. Sarah's stomach knotted as she watched Mr. Thompson's expression shift, wrestling with the shadows of his past and the light being offered to him. She could see the flicker of doubt creeping back in, testing his resolve. Don't listen to him. She shouted, fighting to drown out the negativity. Nick, listen, Emma said, her voice shaking ever so slightly. You may have lost a lot, but you're not lost. You can still find a way back. His breath quickened, and Sarah could see at the very moment he began to realize his strength. He faltered, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't know how to fight anymore. But before anyone could respond, the man lunged forward again, but this time, the sirens grew deafening. Flashing lights illuminated the darkened street in a burst of color, like someone had painted over a dreary canvas. And then, in that instant, everything changed. A police officer stepped out of the car, his demeanor calm but ready, as he scanned the scene. What's happening here? He called out, his voice firm yet kind, breaking through the stifling heaviness in the air. The man's confidence crumbled, and he looked unsure, waving a dismissive hand towards Mr. Thompson. Nothing. Just a bunch of curious kids, but the officer's eyes locked onto Mr. Thompson, piercing through the facade of bravado. You all right, sir? Mr. Thompson's gaze shifted, feeling the warmth of the officer's concern wash over him. I don't know, he stammered, a newfound vulnerability surfacing. Sir, you don't need to answer to anyone but yourself. What do you need? The officer asked directly, his tone non-threatening. It was as if a dam had burst. The words tumbled out of Mr. Thompson's mouth, the weight of years spilling free alongside his fears. I've tried to run to hide from who I am, he began, tears now flowing freely. I can't do this anymore. Sarah's heart raced, her pulse quickening. This was the moment of truth, the door to healing opened just a crack. As the chaos spun around them, she saw something shift in Mr. Thompson's expression. Gone was the indecision, replaced with a glimmer of clarity. Let him find his way back, she whispered, almost to herself, but loud enough for Nick to hear. "It's time to stand tall. You deserve that." The man backed off, realizing he was losing his grip completely. The sirens had arrived, symbols of safety and the possibility of change. "Choose you, Nick," Emma urged, her eyes wide and earnest. Mr. Thompson stood straighter, the noise of the world fading into the background as he took a shaky breath. "I choose to try," he said slowly, almost as if he was convincing himself along with them. The officer nodded, stepping closer, encouraging him to speak. "Good. That's a start." But even as hope blossomed, doubt lingered in the air like smoke. Would this be enough for Mr. Thompson to lean into the light? Just then, a sudden crash echoed down the street, echoing through the tense air. All heads turned towards the source, and Sarah felt her breath hitch in her throat. This wasn't over yet. What would happen if the past caught up with them again? Would Mr. Thompson have the strength to rise one more time? As the sirens blared brighter and louder, the lingering question hung heavy: could courage truly reshape a broken life? The crash echoed ominously, pulling everyone's attention away from the flickering beacon of hope that had just ignited in Mr. Thompson's heart. The man who had been tormenting him recoiled, suddenly less intimidating in the face of impending authority. But Sarah's world felt like it was spiraling. She exchanged worried glances with Emma, their hearts synchronized in fear. "What was that?" Emma asked, her voice shaking with uncertainty. Almost instinctively, the officer turned, focused. "Stay back," he shouted, eyes scanning the street. The sound that followed was not just an accident, it was chaos. Someone was yelling, and tires screeched nearby. A few people rushed past, forming an impromptu barrier between them and the unfolding urgency. Sarah stepped closer to Mr. Thompson. He looked fragile, as though the weight of the decision he just made could shatter him if the threat of the past threatened to rear its ugly head again. "It's okay, Nick," she whispered. "Just hold on." The officer's radio crackled to life, and he spoke sharply into the device. It felt as if the world had shifted around them, and they were all suspended in this moment of uncertainty. "What if they bring him back?" Emma murmured. "What if let us not think like that," Sarah cut in. "He's choosing to fight. We have to believe in that." But then a series of loud voices cut through their conversation, angry, frantic. The crowd buzzed with confusion. Sarah could hardly make sense of it. Was it the man trying to intimidate Nick again? Did he have friends coming back? Her pulse quickened as she fought against the rising tide of worry. "Everyone, please," the officer commanded, raising his hand to direct the flow of the crowd. "I need you to stay calm. We have this under control." Mr. Thompson inhaled deeply, breath trembling as he began to nod, the flicker in his eyes reigniting. "I don't want to hide anymore," he whispered. I think I can do this." "Good," Sarah encouraged, heart swelling. "You've taken the first step. There's strength in that, Nick." Just as hope crested again, a figure emerged from the crowd. A woman, wild-eyed, her clothes slightly tattered, and her cheeks sunken, stumbled toward them. "Please," she gasped, pointing down the street, "you have to help. It's David. He's hurt." The officer turned, urgency threading his features. "Where?" he shouted, ready to run but still preserving the safety of the others. Back that way," she cried, her voice breaking. "I don't know what happened." A wave of despair washed over Sarah, an instinctive dread. The past was rearing its head, fresh and vicious. A new thought gnawed at her heart. What if the pain was not just a haunting memory for Mr. Thompson but a battle about to unfold right here, right now? "Stay here, Nick," the officer instructed firmly before darting off towards the chaos. Emma turned back to Mr. Thompson, whose face had drained of color. "Nick, you're not alone," she urged, desperate to keep the light alive between them, but the shadows of doubt entered his eyes again. Would this emergency steal away his chance to reclaim his life? With the sirens still blaring behind them, Sarah felt her heart flip. The night was unfolding in ways they hadn't anticipated. How would they confront what lurked in the darkness? As they waited, the air thick with tension and uncertainty, it became ever more clear, not just Mr. Thompson's battle was on the line. The fight chose them all even when hope was flickering dim. And in the midst of it, could they all find the courage they desperately needed to face their truths? Mr. Thompson stood in that swirling chaos, the weight of the world pressing hard against his chest. As the distant sirens faded into the background, someone cried out, jolting him back to the reality of the night and the choices that loomed ahead. The echo of Emma's voice resonated in his heart, reminding him of that flickering light, the light that had begun to thaw the icy walls he had kept around himself for too long. "Nick," he whispered through the tightness in his throat. "What if the darkness returns? Then we fight it together," Sarah replied softly, stepping closer, her eyes brimming with empathy. "You've already taken such a brave step. Let us help you find your way." Emma, with her innocent tenacity, clutched Mr. Thompson's hand tightly. "You're not just a name from the past. You're not alone, not anymore. You matter to us." For a moment, Mr. Thompson stayed frozen, caught between the ghosts of old choices and the hands of newfound family reaching out to him. He could feel the swell of their courage, an invitation to step into a brighter tomorrow. Just then, he remembered his stories, those tales interwoven with loss, yes, but also resilience. If he shared them, perhaps they could displace his shadows. Just as he felt that flicker start to ignite, the officer returned, urgency shadowing his demeanor. "We're clearing out the area, sir," he said to Mr. Thompson before locking eyes with Sarah. "I know this is a lot, but we've got your back. Are you all right?" Everything's changing," Mr. Thompson stammered, his heart racing against the flow of time. The cacophony of the scene outside felt like a reminder of all he had lost, but Emma's unwavering smile was a lifeline. "I'm ready to face whatever comes next," Mr. Thompson said, the tremor in his voice replaced by a newfound certainty. "I choose to fight for today." The police officer nodded, gathering other onlookers as behind them the sound of chaos yielded to a new kind of quiet, a quiet filled with possibility. In that moment, the tension that had nearly suffocated them ceded ground. For the first time, Mr. Thompson felt a warmth stirring within him, one he had almost forgotten, and as they stood together, Sarah and Emma by his side, their body language spoke louder than words. They shared in the small triumph of acceptance, a stepping stone toward healing. The world around them shimmered with the soft glow of the streetlights now twinkling brightly against the harsh night, paintbrush strokes of hope brushing over winter's darkness. "Let us get you two home, all right?" the officer said, gently guiding them forward. "You've made a tough choice tonight. We'll keep you safe while you find your bearings." "Thank you," Sarah breathed, relief flooding through her as they began to walk away from the shadows and towards the light. "You've given us a chance to show Nick what family can be." Emma beamed, her spirit contagious. "And I can't wait to show you our tree, Nick. We can put it in the living room right by the window." As they vanished into the deeper warmth of the holiday season, the officer looked back thoughtfully at Mr. Thompson once more. "Remember, it's okay to lean on others," he said, before turning away to tend to the ongoing ruckus. In that rush, Mr. Thompson turned to Sarah and Emma, seeing them as they truly were, a beacon of hope cutting through the fog. "Thank you," he said earnestly, feeling the warmth of his newfound family seep into his bones, wrestling with the lingering shadows. "No need to thank us," Sarah responded, her smile brightening. "We're all in this together. No one needs to face their darkness alone." Mr. Thompson nodded, swallowing back the tears that threatened to spill. For the first time in what felt like years, he felt lighter. The burdens of yesterday didn't evaporate entirely, but they dulled in the presence of acceptance and belonging. A newfound resolve pulsed through him, filling the cracks where loneliness had resided. He could forge ahead into whatever future awaited him. Instead of retreating to the corners of despair, he could step boldly into this new chapter, inflating the spaces once occupied by hope with an abundance of love. "Let us make some memories worth holding on to," he said, finding his voice stronger than it had ever been. And as they walked down the bustling street of Chicago, laughter harmonizing with the distant jingle of holiday cheer, all three of them understood, there's nothing more powerful than the connections we forge when we dare to embrace our shared humanity. In that moment, Mr. Thompson found not just acceptance, but a place to finally call home, igniting the promise of what tomorrow could bring. So, as Mr. Thompson took that first step into light, with arms around the warmth of family, he finally believed that it was possible to reclaim joy, even amidst the darkest nights of the heart. Now, it's your turn to join this journey. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss out on the next inspiring stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep us going. Your support means everything. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending, we want to hear from you. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. Let us spread hope together. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your actions today can brighten someone else's tomorrow.